grade 6, I told my then EMS teacher, I was like, when I grow up, I'm gonna be an entrepreneur. I don't want to be employed by anybody. I'm gonna be an entrepreneur, and that has stuck with me for years.
All
And
right.
so when I didn't really have a varsity experience, in the sense that I was studying full time, but I was also working full time.
Oh,
And I did the maths. I was like, hockey players have second jobs as well as playing hockey. Mm-mm. At least they've got jobs while I'm like, let me focus on the work as well as the varsity life. So, and it's the same with a lot of small businesses. They're unable to grow. Simple thing like getting funding.
mm,
When the funder wants to give you money and they ask you for your tax clearance certificate,
mm,
you can't produce it. Or you're on site, you're supposed to start a project, but your safety file is not in order, or you don't even have a letter of good standing from Department of Labor or
mm.
Queta. You don't have that. Those kind of things are stopping small businesses from growing, and hence I thought the compliance clinic is that we are fixing these issues. You bring your business, we will sort it out. I've got we've I've got a system that's called the CPR system, right? I'm really going in on this whole medic approach. And the CPR system is, we look at your compliance, your processes, and your revenue. I'm gonna shift the responsibility to the government for a second, right? And I know it goes against everything that I say a lot of the time, but I'm gonna shift the focus. I'm gonna shift it to them by saying, when you first register a business, you receive an email that tells you this is your registration certificate, this is your tax certificate, etc., etc. I think they should be doing that consistently for a month with, like I said, with information that educate you on how to build that foundation.
All right. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, at BM Studios. We welcome you all to this wonderful event that we're going to have. I'm with Shawn here. And hey, I'm wearing my Chiefs t shirt just on the day before the big match. I wonder how it's going to be. Hmm.
I'm a Chiefs fan too, so just saying.
Yes, here with us we have Shawn. I've known Shawn for it's 4 years now,
Yeah.
since 2022.
Mm.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Shawn's bio is very long, ladies and gentlemen.
Summarize it.
I have to read it all. People have to hear who this man is. Shawn is an experienced business accountant and tax practitioner with over 12 years of dedicated experience empowering small, medium, and micro enterprises to not just survive, but to truly thrive beyond their critical initial years. We're going to come to that one. As the founder of the Compliance Clinic, Shawn is passionate about equipping SMMEs with robust financial foundations for sustained success. His expertise encompasses comprehensive tax planning and compliance, optimizing financial structures, rigorous regulatory adherence, risk mitigation, and crafting precise financial models that drive profitable growth. He provides tailored accounting and advisory services across diverse industries, including legal, mining, logistics, nonprofit, construction, digital media, e commerce, and retail, expertly navigating their unique financial landscapes. Beyond his professional practice, Shawn's leadership and communication skills have been significantly honed through his prominent roles within Toastmasters, where he most recently served as a financial manager for District 74, overseeing the financial health of a district that supported over 100 clubs. This experience underscores his ability to manage complex operations and articulate intricate financial concepts with clarity and impact. Shawn is more than an accountant. He's a strategic partner committed to building resilient and prosperous businesses. Oh, wow.
I'm going to put that on my Instagram going forward. Like, I just need that snippet.
All right, Mr. Shawn. Tell us who Shawn is, where does he hail from, and how was your upbringing?
Whew. So, Shawn technically is from Joburg, but I think my core foundation is, I'm going to have to say, back in Limpopo. So, originally from Limpopo, lived with my grandparents for about 4 years. And the reason why I'm saying it's important is because that's where I learned the entrepreneurial side of things. Because my grandfather had a business that he was running, and I was assisting him. So that's why I'm like, it's important. So I used to assist him, and that's where I come from. And then from there, I came back to Joburg at the age of, I think, about 10. So between 4 and 10, I was in Limpopo, but then I came back to Joburg. From Joburg, studied, went to, I'm trying to think, because I know I went to 2 primary schools in Joburg. So it was in Rosebank and in Rivonia.
Okay.
Specifically. And so that's more or less my early childhood. And once again, that's also important because I remember in grade 6, I told my then EMS teacher, I was like, when I grow up, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I don't want to be employed by anybody. I'm going to be an entrepreneur. And that has stuck with me for years.
All right.
So when I was employed, that thing kept coming back. You said you're going to be an entrepreneur.
That's good.
And yeah, I think I grew up in a household that had accountants. So that sort of also encouraged the accounting side of things.
Oh, okay.
And I recently actually re-encountered a story of when I was in a taxi. I used to count money. I used to love sitting in the front seat.
Oh, okay. And so many people run away from that.
I used to love it. I used to love it. And so that was me during, and mind you, I was very young. This was me in grade like 5, 6. I was counting money in those days, catching taxis to school.
Okay.
And I remember the one time, one of the taxi drivers actually gave me a calculator, and it's like, as a gift, you know.
Wow.
So it's like, yeah, because I used to catch his taxi on a regular, and I used to count his money. So that's where I guess the accounting really took shape back then. And yeah, and then I went to Bryanston High School, and that's where I sort of really honed in on the accounting things because I really took subjects that were accounting based. Now, in matric, there was a bit of a conflict. There was either accounting or I was going to do civil engineering.
Okay.
Mind you, those are polar opposites.
Yes.
But I applied. UJ obviously accepted me for the accounting, and that was an easy one.
Okay.
It was an easy one. So that's more or less my upbringing, more or less. I think we'll talk more about varsity later if you want to know.
Oh, let's go into it, because I think a lot of people get shaped through their varsity experience. And what was that experience like to you?
I didn't really have a varsity experience in the sense that I was studying full time, but I was also working full time.
Oh.
And I also did sports. So I was doing 3 things, and at some point, the sports had to be cut out because I realized that I was not going to make money as an athlete. I used to run and also play hockey, and I did the maths. I was like, hockey players have second jobs as well as playing hockey. Athletes, they've got jobs while I'm like, let me focus on the work as well as the varsity life. So I would go to class. From class, I would go back to the office. So I worked in an accounting firm, and I worked there for about 10, 11 years. And while I was there, that's where I sort of got to really understand how business works. Like, I genuinely did. And I was fortunate enough to have found somebody who said to me, from my first year, they said to me, Shawn, you're studying accounting, come through and work, do work. So I'm gonna backtrack a little bit in terms of how I got into that job. By the way, they originally said to me, "Come through, do vac work during that March holiday." If you know the March holiday, you know that's like 2 weeks,
days.
right?
Yeah.
2 weeks,
Yeah.
3 weeks maximum. So those 2 weeks, I then decided after those 2 weeks, I was like, I enjoy this. So I kept coming back. Like, I kept coming back. They paid me. I kept coming back. And when I came back, after class, they kept paying me. Now it was prorated, by the way. I was earning 3,000 rand back then.
Oh, wow.
Now when they prorated, there's months where it was like 1,000 rand,
Yeah,
500
yeah,
rand. But I
yeah.
kept coming back, and it turned into 10 years from there.
Okay.
And then varsity-wise, I managed it. I think I managed it okay. There was not a lot of sleeping then. It was a lot of sacrifices.
Which campus were you showing?
I was in Auckland Park.
Auckland Park, okay. Are there permanent residents in the, or you're in the flats outside?
No. I stayed at home. So that's
Okay.
another.
Okay.
That's another thing you throw in, is that I stayed at home, and I would, mind you, this is Kailami. So if you know anything about Kailami, you know that there are absolutely no taxis to anywhere. It's literally a farmland, and I would have to get up at like 7 a.m. to catch. Leave the house at 7 a.m. to catch that 7:30 taxi. So I stayed at home for about 2 years, 3 years. I tried moving out. I tried. It lasted about 3 to 4 months. I got robbed. I went back home.
Oh, wow.
So I went back home.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. So yeah, it was. That's why it worked for me. Working and going to varsity sort of worked, because it was a lot easier to leave Auckland Park to go to Sandton, and then from Sandton to go to Kailami, or go from Auckland Park to Bedford View. That was a bit of a tricky one, but that's how I navigated that.
Right. Tell us about that experience when you were growing up, learning the entrepreneurial skills. Who was the person behind this?
So I think, I have to give my grandfather the biggest amount of credits, primarily, so village lifestyle. So let me tell you about the village lifestyle. You get, those donkey carts where you fetch sand, water, etc. He had that type of a business, and we were doing, like I said, sand, water collection, wood, firewood. Even went as far as the whole farming. You would actually be. You
Okay,
know it, right?
okay.
No, I didn't do this. I was in the front. I was too small. But that's where I got to learn, because he had a whole structure set up.
Okay.
I was, after school, I would be there fetching people's water and whatever it is, and I would collect the money, take it back to him, etc., etc. But that's where I got to learn how to run a business from him, and how he had that going, and he fed a family from that.
All right.
That was our livelihood for the longest time.
Like, how many were you in that family?
There was.
I know the big families in
the
villages.
Yeah, there was quite a few of us. I think at that time, it was about 5 to 7 of us at that point.
Okay.
I know that my other cousins were in the neighboring village, so they had their own family that side. But specifically where we were, it was my sister. It was myself, my sister. So it was myself, my sister, my cousins, my other cousin, my grandmother, my grandfather, and I believe there was somebody else. There was about 5 to 7 of us.
Okay. You counted your sisters. There were 2 of you.
Yeah. So technically, I've got about 4 sisters.
Oh, okay.
But on my mother's side of the family, I've got 1.
Oh.
And then on my father's side of the family, I have 3. 1 passed away, so I think you know the whole African.
I understand.
You know the whole African lifestyle. So
I understand.
yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go into business. You run a compliance clinic. What is it all about? What's this clinic? Can I bring my dog or something? What are you?
Unfortunately, you can't, but you can bring your business.
Okay.
And the idea behind the compliance clinic is I worked in an accounting firm that dealt with lawyers a lot. And I realized that compliance is an issue that a lot of businesses don't address until it's too late. If we look at what's happening in the current landscape where tenders are being awarded irregularly or whatever the issue is, it's not that the main issue is that most of the time people are caught out because their paperwork is not in order. It's like, why would you award a tender to somebody whose paperwork is not in order, right? And it's the same with a lot of small businesses. They're unable to grow. Simple thing like getting funding. When the funder wants to give you money and they ask you for your tax clearance certificate, you can't produce it. Or you're on site, you're supposed to start a project, but your safety file is not in order, or you don't even have a letter of good standing from Department of Labor or Queta. You don't have that. Those kind of things are stopping small businesses from growing, and hence I thought the compliance clinic is that we are fixing these issues. You bring your business, we will sort it out. We will make sure that it's well aligned, and hence in my bio there's the critical 3-year mark. According to stats, most businesses don't make it past the first 3 years.
Correct.
And that is not by chance. It's purely because there's no systems, there's no compliance, and financial management is not a thing.
How many of these businesses are you seeing that are struggling with this kind of situation?
So,
in terms of like percentage wise?
Personally, every business that I've dealt with,
They're struggling
with that. Every business. Most people come to me because they need a tax issue. They've got a tax issue, or they've got a Department of Labor issue. That's literally what most people come to me with. Only now am I starting to get more clients that say, look, we're trying to grow. How can you help us grow? I'm trying to move from 5 million rand to 20 million rand. How can we grow? But most of my clients are coming to me and saying, Shawn, we've got this tax issue. SARS says I owe them X amount. Can you help me? Or SARS says, I've got this issue. Can you help me with it? Or I've got a project. I need a letter of good standing. Can you help me?
You also talk about the advisory component of your business. What kind of advice are you providing to, more especially the small businesses?
So the advisory component, I've got a system that's called the CPR system, right? I'm really going in on this whole medic approach, and the CPR system is we look at your compliance, your processes, and your revenue.
Okay.
So the advice comes in those 3 forms, where we take the compliance part of it as in the early stages as the foundation. We advise you on the processes that you need to implement in order for you to actually grow as a business. So now we're stepping into the next layer, processes. You've got employees. How do you make sure that you get the same sort of output across the board? Or you, as a single business owner, you're now looking to bring somebody in. How do you then take that specific role that you used to do yourself and give it to somebody else and make sure you get the output that you are used to, or even better? So that's the advisory part of it. We start giving you advice in order for you. We start putting in places things that would actually help your business grow.
Okay.
And the main thing in the advisory is the financial map. We put together a financial model and give you a map of this is what your business should be working towards.
As you were saying, startups struggling, more especially in the first 3 years. What sort of education or kind of kind of a school should these small businesses or entrepreneurs get in order to not fall into these pitfalls?
I think for me, it's, and I'm going to go back to compliance, the advice we should be getting in the I'm going to say we, because once again, I'm an entrepreneur, the advice that we should be getting in the beginning is primarily, what does compliance look like for you as a business throughout the year? It's very simple, it's repetitive. Between April and June, you know that you have to deal with quota. From most financial years are in February, meaning between February and August, you've got to deal with provisional tax, your first provisional tax. From August to February the following year, you've got to deal with the second provisional tax. A month after your company has been registered, a month after the anniversary of your business, you have to submit your annual return with CIPC. Those small things, if you are given the tools to actually know how to keep your company compliant, that's the first step. It's the foundation. Then the next step is, I think for a lot of startups, is financial management and cash flow management. I know they say, getting work is great and you can invoice. They say that's great, but cash is king. I had a client who said to me, Shawn, I don't want to see the invoices amount. That's fine. I want to see what's in the bank at any point. Because if there's no money in the bank, I can't pay salaries, I can't buy inventory, I can't pay rent, I can't pay SARS. Meaning cash is king. And that's one of the things. How you manage your cash flow is very important. Worry about the invoices later in terms of, how much money you've invoiced. That's great. You can invoice R1 million, but if that R1 million doesn't come in today, you broke. That's the honest truth. You're broke. Cash is king.
So what I'm trying to get to is, how do you bridge the gap for startups in terms of, so that they don't find themselves into these pitfalls? What kind of education should they be getting in terms of to be better entrepreneurs so that they can comply better? What school should they be? Because you can find a lot of people that really want to do some business, but they don't even know where to start. So what kind of education can we provide or can be provided so that these small startups don't find themselves in these kind of situations?
I'm going to shift the responsibility to the government for a second, right? And I know it goes against everything that I say a lot of the time, but I'm going to shift the focus. I'm going to shift it to them by saying, when you first register a business, you receive an email that tells you this is your registration certificate, this is your tax certificate, etc., etc. I think they should be doing that consistently for a month with, like I said, with information that educates you on how to build that foundation. And by creating videos, I'm sure you can employ professionals in the accounting space, professionals in the legal space, etc., etc. You employ those individuals to actually either record videos to actually guide a new entrepreneur to say, this is what you need to do. You've registered your business. In the first 60 days, this is what you should be doing. In the first 90 days, this is what you should be looking to do. And I think that's where it starts, because once again, it's going to be the legal and the financial part. Those are the most important. So if you can employ the right people, and because CIPC has a database, they are able to actually put out those emails on time and people will actually read those emails. I can't do that. I don't know who's on the database. I don't know who's not, who doesn't know what.
Correct. All right. Speaking about government, I don't know if you listened to the budget speech, and what can you say about it?
Funny enough, I didn't, but I read what happened, and I think I think the government actually has a positive outlook. I think the government has looked at as the economy is turning around.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bit of hope in the air. I don't know if people can feel it, but the message was hope that we're doing better than we were 5 years ago. We're doing better. I mean,
Are you optimistic?
there's a lot of optimism in the air. I think, I mean, they even increased the VAT threshold by 1.3 million.
Mm.
That's a huge turnaround from when they were trying to charge us an entire 2% a year ago.
Yes, yes.
That's a huge, and even the individual's tax thresholds, they've even shifted it to say certain people that used to belong to a certain bracket have actually gone down to a lower bracket, meaning they're getting taxed less, meaning there's more money to be had, you see. So there's a lot more optimism in the air. I feel like we are the budget speech was literally saying, look guys, we did well. Let us enjoy the fruits of our labor a little bit, a little bit. But the most important one for me is how they're encouraging saving,
I would have loved to see increase on the 500,000 on the TFSA.
They're going to do it. I think they might do it in the next year's budget speech.
Mm.
The reason why I'm saying they're going to is that they couldn't increase the annual as well as the lifetime at the same time. They had to pick one.
Why not?
It's too radical of a change. Already people are not utilizing it.
But at least those that are utilizing it would benefit more.
Yes, but there's an African saying that you know it better. What do they say about eating an elephant? What do they say? One bite at a time.
All right.
And I think if we can get people to save 46,000 Rand per annum, we can then worry about them breaking the 500,000 Rand lifetime.
All right.
You see? So get more people to do the 46. 46, if we've got more people doing 46 and we've got more people getting to that 500,000 Rand threshold, then we can consider moving it up. But as it stands, I don't think we have enough people at the 500,000 Rand threshold.
Okay. Talking about savings, we have a challenge as a country of people who get into so much debt. And also, we're seeing these things even from people who are supposedly accountants. Why do you think that is?
I'm going to speak from experience. At some point, I was also over indebted. So don't worry. And my fellow lawyers, if you're watching this, I'm not throwing you guys under the bus, but most people that are in that profession just know enough not to sort of break the rules. And it's the same. You sort of, it's that situation of saying, do as I say, not do as I do. Lawyers will themselves break the rules. And you're asking yourself, how are you breaking the rules? You're an entire legal practitioner. Accountants, it's the same thing with accountants. You do financial management for everybody else, but your house is not in order. Why? And I think it goes back to the whole thing of sometimes you understand, you live in a bubble to say credit is good, but you don't have the discipline. So it's a discipline issue more than anything else.
Okay.
And we understand enough to actually almost break it, but we lack the discipline to get out of that hole once we're in it.
But debt, like your credit card, is not good debt.
You know how it starts, right? I will give you a business scenario where you, I will say as an accountant, you know that if you repay your credit card within 30 days, this is what they say to you. If you pay it back within 30 days, you don't have to incur anything. Interest. You're like, okay, so it starts off with, I will use it to pay for fuel. I will use it to buy groceries. When my salary hits, I'll just throw it back. Then you do that for a few months and then you're sorted. Then it becomes another issue of the bank comes back, and FNB is a huge culprit of this. I love my bank. I love you, FNB. But FNB, well, then when you've got that good track record, they say, hey, you qualify for a little bit of an increase. You sure you don't want to take this? Then you're like, why not?
Maybe not.
You take it. And then now it's more than your salary. So when your salary hits, there's a shortfall. You see, it becomes bigger and bigger. It becomes a snowball effect. And that's how it starts. Then from there, we look at your car. Just because you qualify for a car worth R1,000,000 doesn't mean you can afford a car worth R1,000,000. And as an accountant, you've got this amazing job. You're doing well. It's an aesthetics thing. My favorite car right now, it's an RS3. And it's worth 1.2 million or 1.5, somewhere there. I can't afford a 1.5 million rand car right now, but I could qualify for it and it looks good. I'm going to do it. Where's the first place where I'm going to start defaulting? My credit card. Because I don't have to pay it back now. I just need to meet that minimum amount. I don't need to pay the full amount. And it starts creeping in. So we tend to think we know a lot, but then we don't have the discipline.
Yeah, discipline is one of the difficult things, more especially with our youth, peer pressure and stuff like that. How can we advise the youth in terms of becoming more disciplined, more especially when it comes to finances? Is it an easy subject to even speak about?
I might get cancelled for this one. But I think I'm going to speak more on the guys' side, because we do see a lot of guys being the biggest culprits, or the ones that fall into this trap a lot more than the females. I think because of a lot of us, we come from environments that are not that great. And because the environments are not that great, when we do make it out, we want to show everybody else that we have made it. That's the first problem. So you want to show everybody else you've made it. That's where you should stop. Like, don't show anybody else that you've made it. As long as you know you've made it, you're good. Secondly, social media. You see a girl that you like and she's talking about 25,000 rand girlfriend allowance. You're thinking my salary is 50,000. That's half of your salary gone. And you want to impress a female through money, social media. So social media is another element that contributes towards us not doing so well.
Wow, talking about social media. We'll talk about that another time. Let's come back to compliance. Compliance in businesses is kind of a huge issue, more especially you're looking at your tenderpreneurs, your other people who do businesses in funny ways. And as a country, where do you think we're getting it wrong in terms of getting right people in the right places, so that at least the economy can at least grow significantly better than it used to be? I mean, we're at like 0 point something. It's not growth any form or shape. So how can we do it better?
Africa is one of the most overregulated continents. That's a fact, and South Africa is in a weird place because it's almost like little America, but it's overregulated at the same time. So we're getting it wrong by saying it goes back to the literacy component. In high school, we get EMS, which is the only form of EMS, business studies, as well as accounting. Most people that would be their only form of education into running a business. And compliance is never really touched on.
Okay.
So the foundation is already off, right?
Okay.
And then also it goes back to centralizing the compliance component. If we can get it centralized, we've got SARS that sits alone and it can see what's happening at CIPC. SARS and CIPC are starting to almost talk to each other, but not as well as they should. So we've got SARS, we've got CIPC, we've got Department of Labor, we've got others. They're all sitting alone. And you're getting a communication from SARS, you're getting a communication from CIPC, you barely get a communication from Department of Labor. They walk into the building. That's the first time you hear about them. And then the other ones, they will talk to you when you need something from them. But if we can centralize that, and you know that you get reminders from the same entity all the time, that's when you can really see the compliance part moving forward. If your annual return is due for SARS as well as CIPC, personally, I feel like these two should be
one thing.
Should be one thing, because why is it that you can submit your UIF through SARS and you just need to reconcile with Department of Labor, but you can't do annual return with SARS and reconcile with CIPC? Why is this leg not? It's broken. It's a broken system. It's an old system. And it's a system that I think we need to centralize it. And my fellow accountants might disagree, but I think we need to simplify this thing. Business owners have they don't want to know about SARS, CIPC, Department of Labor. If they're dealing with one entity, they know, what do I owe? What is outstanding? And they did that very well with, they tried to with CSD. CSD, you can see what's going on, but it still doesn't speak to Department of Labor.
Okay.
So to answer your question, I know it's a long-winded answer, but to answer your question, I think the government needs to do, or even us as accountants, as professionals, we need to be advocating for a more simple system, a centralized system that speaks to business owners on a regular basis, and the message is the same across the board.
Okay. Have you compared economies? For instance, China has grown significantly in the last 30 years, and it's threatening the superpower in the West. How can we as a country try to emulate some of the ways that some of the other countries that are growing better, so that we grow as well?
We've got too many informal sectors.
Okay.
And I'm not saying we need to now go tax all these informal sectors. We need to empower these informal sectors, because these informal sectors are dying when the likes of China come out, the likes of the US. I mean, we were getting our chicken from America when we've got farmers in South Africa that are saying, we've got chickens, but we don't know where to sell them. There's an informal element to that also. So if we can somewhat find ways of actually formalizing the informal sector and empowering them to actually grow, that's where we're going to actually that's where we're going to grow. Varsity students were raised on somebody selling food at a taxi rank. How do you empower that individual to actually grow that business? So for me, it's converting these informal sectors and empowering them to actually start contributing towards the economy and hiring more people. We're not growing as an economy because we're not hiring enough. if I'm selling something at a taxi rank and I know somebody, my neighbor's child, that is unemployed, it's an opportunity for me to hire them and they can work, and I open up a second shop somewhere else at another taxi rank. And if there's structure to allow me to do that, I start employing more and more people. You see, so the informal sector is really what is going to build us as a country if we start formalizing it.
Are you saying the government is not protecting that kind of economy?
It's not. It's not. It's not. I'm sure if you read up, I just don't have the numbers, but if you read up the size of the township economy, it is massive. It is massive. You. Here's a crazy thought, right? We've got Stockfells. Stockfells, technically, it's an informal thing. The amount of money that gets thrown in around through Stockfells, if that money was taken and actually put into building an entire business, we would have a business almost as big as Woolworths and the likes of ShopRite, whatever it is. Macro is where it is right now because of Stockfells. Now imagine if that money was used to actually invest in businesses and grow businesses. Instead of at the end of the year we take that money, we buy groceries, we take that money, we buy dividends in companies. And those individuals are now receiving dividends on an annual basis. They're still contributing the same. You see, that's another way of an informal sector that's now tapping into the formal sector and growing, because those annual dividends or semi-annual dividends, depending on how they get paid, they throw money back into the economy and the ecosystem. You've got more money available to you. You see what I mean?
Excuse me.
So you've got more money that gets thrown back into the ecosystem. I'm just using the Stockfell as an example. You see?
All right. And if we look at the people that got stepped.
Are they? Mine? Yeah. Is the car locked? Oh, I think I left the car key inside. I'm gonna need to be jump started. But anyway, yeah.
Let's go back to, I'm not even sure how long we've run for. I want us to go to Toastmasters. You've run as a financial manager in Toastmasters for District 74. And how was that like? And how was your journey in Toastmasters, and how has it helped you grow as a person?
I'm gonna give you the politically correct answer. But on a serious note, I think there's definitely opportunities to grow within Toastmasters. For me, being the finance manager for District 74, I learned how clubs are meant to be grown. I've learned how Toastmasters is supposed to be done compared to how it's actually being done.
Okay.
I'm going to talk to protocol, for example, or the structure of the EXCO. The structure of the EXCO, I don't think we've got it right at a club level. We've got secretaries that are put to the sidelines. Secretaries, most clubs don't even know what secretaries are meant to be doing. We've got treasurers. Most people don't even, like, treasurers are just there to fill bodies. We've got VPPRs and VPMs, which stands for Vice President Public Relation and Vice President Membership. Those, they have an idea, but I actually got to learn from being a finance manager that, look, as The secretary, you are the custodian of the club's documents. You should know what protocol, you should know the bylaws. You should actually have an idea of what is required to run that club, because technically you are the next best thing when it comes to the legal side of things after the president. I got to learn that through being the finance manager. VPM and VPE, I learned that those two should be working hand in hand, because VPE is responsible for making sure goals are being met. VPM is supposed to be there to nurture members as well as bring in new members. But the VPM most of the time focuses on what? Bringing in new members, but we never nurture the members. But from a finance perspective, I got to see the importance of budgeting, because I got grilled on how we utilized the district's finances and how we went over budget. The money is there to be spent, and it's there to be spent on supporting clubs, and a district should not have a profit. The purpose of a district is not to make a profit. If it receives 1 million rand, it's supposed to use 1 million rand and one towards supporting the district. It shouldn't be an issue where the district now uses 900,000 rand.
Yep.
And is left with 100,000 rand surplus. That means you didn't support people. That's what I really learned. Protocol, the importance of a structure within the clubs and how it feeds to the greater part of the district, and also financial management.
For a person who does not really understand what Toastmasters is all about, what can you say about it?
So for me, I look at Toastmasters in three ways. In three ways. And the first way is there is the education part, where you come in to improve your public speaking, improve yourself in terms of how you speak, how you articulate yourself. The second way is leadership. If you want to grow certain parts of your leadership skill sets, that's something that you can get from Toastmasters, and it affords you that journey. And the third way, and most Toastmasters do this wrong or they don't do it at all, is networking. It is a community. If I'm spending close to 5 hours, between 4 and 5 hours in a month with individuals at a minimum, I should be able to build a network with those people. So those are the three things that you should be getting out of Toastmasters: networking, leadership, and public speaking.
Oh, wow. And you've chatted some clubs. How can you tell us your experience on starting a new club and growing it?
That has actually become my favorite part of Toastmasters. I think chartering clubs is fun, because what it does, you're bringing in people that have never, or that don't know what Toastmasters is about, or that are new to this environment. You bring them in, and you sort of, it's almost like an incubator. It's literally an incubator, because you're bringing them in and you're introducing them to Toastmasters slowly but surely, one step at a time, and I've unfortunately, I've never been able to charter a community club, but I've chartered corporate clubs. And the first one was PwC. With PwC, what I got to learn or experience was structure, meaning they had a procurement process that was so good that it made it easy for us to charter, because by the time documents were in, payment was in, and we were able to bring in the documents. In order for them to continue funding that club, members needed to attend 75% of the meetings. That's where the structure was, and the secretary took note of who attended, and minutes were actually drafted. And that's the chartering process. And then when you start a club, there's sponsors. Those are responsible for the documents paperwork. So that's what I tend to do. And then there's mentors. Those are responsible for mentoring the exco, not the members.
Okay.
You don't mentor the members. You can mentor the members if you want, but your primary focus is the exco,
Okay.
so that the exco can run the club. So that's what I learned from PwC. Then eGov, that was a challenge. It was a government club. That was, like I said, it was a challenge, but I think there it was more of when people don't see when you don't have skin in the game, you don't value something. So I learned that when you do charter a club as an organization, get your members to pay a little bit of something in. Then they will take it serious. Because the club, we had less people coming in. And I think that's where the commitment fell short. Whereas PwC, they were contributing a portion of their.
Okay.
I think they were paying a third. So they were paying a third, whereas with eGov they were not. But then we eventually got a president that was excited. Rulani, I genuinely, I think I threw Rulani under the bus with that club. She really did do work, and she got it running. She's got it up and running. So.
She survived under the bus.
She survived under the bus. She's now pushing the bus. So that's the nice thing about that. But it took the lessons that I learned from my third club and implementing them back here that we saw that it can actually progress, which was Santam. And with Santam, there's 2 clubs in Santam, and I'm trying to split myself between the 2. I'm struggling, but I'm trying. But with Santam, I realized that they are a corporate. They are a true definition of a corporate. They want systems in place, structure systems, KPIs, deliverables. That's what they want to see. Meaning, before it took us about a year or a year and a half to charter that club, because they wanted to know how it would work.
Okay.
They wanted a proof of payment, a proof of banking, proof of banking directly from Toastmasters International, from Bank of America. Not this generic one. We had to get one from. That's how strict the process was. The president of the Santam in Joburg, she's very systematized. She wants to see something in her diary. She wants to see something written down. She needs to delegate these KPIs. So with this one, there's KPIs. I've learned the importance of KPIs.
Okay, that's great. Let's talk about things that are not so popular in Toastmasters, like your youth leadership, your speechcraft. What are those? How can people really benefit from such programs?
Okay, I'm gonna throw in a third one, which is I learned when I was finance manager, and that's a gavel club.
Oh, the gavel club.
Yes.
I still don't know exactly what it's doing.
Should I start with the gavel club?
Probably.
So a gavel club is a club that is essentially run by parents for those that are below the age of 18.
Okay.
They still get to somewhat get the experience of being a Toastmaster, but it's essentially being run by. You still get the whole experience, but the parents are overseeing it. It's an informal club. It's a way of keeping the kids busy, but they still get to learn the core fundamentals of speech structures, etc., etc.
Oh.
So that's essentially a gavel club. I know of maybe 2. There's one in Soweto, in the Soweto region, and there might be one in the PE region. So those are the only 2 that I know. If you want to know more about Gavel Club, Angie Cavido, our past district director, she knows more about those. And then Speechcraft, when I was running for Club Growth Director, I said most corporates don't need new clubs. They need Speechcrafts. And here's why. Community clubs, you and I are very dedicated in our community club. We can easily take the skills we've learned with the rest of our members, go to a Sanlam, for example, and say to them, we're willing to offer you a 8-week program, 1 hour per week, where we come and train your members on public speaking, how to body language, how to do a presentation, how to give effective feedback, how to receive feedback and apply it to your next. Basically, the whole level 1. That's what Speechcraft is. It's a whole level 1. We take those, you do an 8-week program, and it's 6 to 8 weeks. You do an 8-week program within that, and by the end of that program, they've got a certificate to say they've completed this whole Speechcraft process. And you charge, a club can charge anywhere between, basically they can charge up to $120
Okay.
per person,
Per person. Oh, okay.
which is good
8
monies.
weeks.
Which is good monies, I'm sorry.
Oh,
It's
true.
good.
Definitely.
And that gets utilized to, it comes back to the club. The club can use it for education purposes. They can use it for the venue hire. They can use it to upgrade the equipment. What you can't do with that money is pay for a member's fees. You can't. Let's get that out there. Don't do it. If you are doing it, you're wrong. So then that's Speechcraft, right? You educate. And the nice thing about the members that have done a Speechcraft, they can actually come and join a club, and they would have gotten credit for level 1. So
Okay.
they're starting on level 2.
Okay.
And that's why I'm saying if a corporate can do 3 to 4 Speechcrafts in a year, they're sorted. They don't need a club, because the moment they do a club, it requires more admin. It requires a lot more people to be involved, and that's how clubs die, and you waste money unnecessarily. Whereas if you do this 4 times in a year, you get your members through the level 1, you get them out. If they want to join, you can then sponsor them at community clubs. We've seen corporate sponsor people at community clubs, so they can do that. And if you pull out the funding, there's not a lot of requirements. There's not, you don't have a club dying, So that's that. And then youth leadership, it's similar to Speechcraft, but this is geared towards those that are below the age of 18. Very similar, and you do this with schools. The only difference is that you don't necessarily charge huge lump sums. If you are charging anything, you're charging for the material as well as maybe transport costs associated with the delegates that are coming. But the club doesn't really benefit like they do in a Speechcraft. Gavel clubs as well as youth leaderships are there to empower the youth. That's why there's not a lot of money involved in those.
Oh, okay. All right. Shawn, we have a few minutes left. What can you tell us about your whole experience in Toastmasters, in how it has groomed your skills, and to be the person you are today?
I think, and I saw this yesterday, funny enough, Toastmasters is one place where you go out there to be judged. You deliver a speech so that you can get evaluated, So for me, it has been a situation of confronting things that I'm not good at. Overall, I've learned what I'm not good at, and I've tried to work on what I'm not good at, and it has somewhat made me a better person in that space. But I think I love the community that I've got in Toastmasters more than anything else. The community is amazing. You've got people that are willing to support you. You can call anybody at any time and say, I need 1, 2, 3. You're likely to get a yes. So it's the community. You've got a very strong community, and they pay to be part of it. So I really love the community, I think, more than anything else.
Thank you, Shawn. By the way, Shawn is a distinguished Toastmaster. A distinguished Toastmaster is the highest accolade that a Toastmaster can accomplish as a person in Toastmasters. That means you have gone through your educational stuff, you've gone through your leadership, and It's not a very easy thing to do, but people do it and they get it. And Shawn is one of those people that have climbed that ladder and is up there. And we would like to really congratulate him on achieving the Toastmaster, Distinguished Toastmaster Award. Ladies and gentlemen,
you should tell them why I got it. You should tell them why I got it.
Well, Shawn got it, yes, because, he chartered a lot of clubs, also leading at area and also at district. Yeah, those are the major things that he has done to getting that award.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, the first episode done here at BM Studios, and we'll hope to see you more often coming here.
Oh, no, I'll be back.
Oh, definitely.
I'll be back.
All right. Thank you.
Does the class start?